All right, so second half of round 2, these courses are going to get into the Sweet 16 versus the private courses. First up, we've got Coyote down in Cedar Hill versus Crossroads, also in Cedar Hill. Kind of unfortunate those are going up against each other so early. But Crossroads of Life, the best church course in DFW. 4.1, 6,800 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 par 4s and a par 5. Coyote, 4.5 rated. So coming out of the gate hot there. It's only 5,000 feet. Hole 1 sometimes is a par 4, and that's it. The rest par 3s. Hole 16, I guess it's in the short right now. That one can be pretty long up the hill. Coyote coming in 4.7 on the shot variety and design. Upkeep and scenery are at 4.6. I would agree with that. Tee area is 4.0. Some of them are a little small. Some of them are a little muddy. Looking at you, hole 15. Signage and wayfinding, 3.8. Yeah, the T signs are a little old, but most of the walk-offs are pretty intuitive, except for hole 2. I always used to go the wrong way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then amenities, 3.1. That's generous.
Yeah.
Crossroads.
Upkeep 3.5.
I've gone there and it's been pretty trashed, like overgrown. Shot variety design, 4.4. I would agree with that. Tee area is 3.8. Most of them are pretty good. Signage, wayfinding, most of that's pretty good.
That is the lowest amenity score we've seen yet.
2.3?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it feels like you shouldn't, and I never have, go into the church to like use the bathroom or like check out a drinking fountain or something. It does not feel inviting.
There are times I've been playing with you there that I'm like, are we even really supposed to be here?
Yeah, because sometimes you're like the only person on the property.
Yeah.
They just close on Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights. Scenery and views, 3.7. Yeah, the opening volley of that course with the creek channel and like the semi-sketchy bridges and the tight woods, like that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, even recently there's reviews about the front 9 needing trimming in TLC. So yeah, it goes through waves. They probably trim it up like 2 or 3 times a year and that's it.
So frustrating because I feel like it has so much more potential than what it is already.
So I've been talking a lot on this one. What are your thoughts between these two courses?
I feel like Crossroads of Life has the potential to be a really great, like kind of like intermediate course. The front 9 are all kind of shorter, more tighter knit, and then it really opens up. There's 2 700-foot holes back to back. One of them's par 4, one of them's par 5. Yeah, 14 and 15. And I think that brings a really cool variety, and then it steps back down to 521, 340, 263 for hole 18.
Hole 18 has a tight gap.
Yeah, but I think where it falls off for me is that you have to find it on a weekend that it is upkept well, to not just be sitting there cursing at the course the entire time. Whereas Coyote has a bit more purpose behind its upkeep. It obviously, you know.
They just got new baskets a couple years ago.
Yeah.
The club is really active, really taking care of it. I know Beaver just got some new pin positions. Even just the other day, they got another new pin position.
Ooh.
So we're gonna have to go back, film another round out there.
What a shame.
Darn. Sounds like we figured it out then.
Yeah.
We're giving the nod to Coyote.
I think I wouldn't diss on the Crossroads of Life. I would say go try it out. Look at reviews though for when it was, last.
When it's in good shape.
Yeah, but it definitely needs that to be a good course.
Yeah. Well, one thing you could always do is you go play Coyote, you leave and go get lunch. They're very close to each other. You could check on Crossroads, and then if it's not good to go, then you go back to Coyote and you play Beaver. Because yeah, every time I play Crossroads, it's like after I play Coyote or Beaver, because they're all down there. So I won't belabor it anymore. Coyote moving on into the Sweet 16. Up next, Saddle Hills versus Granbury City Park. What are your thoughts here?
I'm immediately leaning a little bit towards Granbury. I like The courses, it feels very upkept and purposeful. Like it almost feels like an air of professionalism being there, like playing. Like,
yeah,
it's not just out in a park playing on a dirt path through a gap in the trees. It's a mowed fairway with trees that are trimmed for the holes, and I think it definitely is a different look than what you typically get from a disc golf course, and I like that a lot.
That is an interesting angle, yeah. Because a lot of parks, it's like, okay, here's the park, it's a crown jewel of this part of the city, whatever, and the disc golf course is over here in the floodplain or in the woods or whatever. And this Granbury City Park, it's part of a bigger complex. Like, there's a baseball field right next to the parking lot. I don't know what else is over there, but you walk through this gate, and I mean, that thing has to be like 20 plus acres. That's got to be small. It's a huge plot of land, and it's all mowed. All the trees are pruned. It's got multiple ponds. It's got a creek that weaves through most of the property. And it almost has a ball golf course feel.
Yeah.
Saddle Hills has come a long way in the last few years. First time I played it, I think the parking lot was still dirt and there was like a lot of construction going on, and I was like, well, I checked that off the list. I'll probably never be back. But I've been back multiple times. I've played some tournaments out there. They have lights out there now. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have not.
Yeah, so they have lights with little solar panels on them.
Oh.
So you can go play at night out there, which is cool because it's probably a course I would never think about being on at night, but it's got lights now, which is cool. Let's get into the ratings. 4.1 for Saddle Hills. It's coming in at 5,100 feet, so on the shorter side, but it's got some elevation to it.
Yeah. No par fours.
No par fours, which, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, hole 6 is kind of long at 350 down like that side hill.
Yeah. Hole 13, 420 feet, par 3.
Mm-hmm. Which
I'm struggling to remember. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know if I remember playing a hole that long when I was there.
I don't know. Maybe there's a new pin position out there. I didn't think so. I don't remember hearing anything about that. But, I mean, it is a new layout on UDisc, difficulties pending.
Yeah.
But it says I've played it 3 times. Interesting. The longs out there, though, not a smart layout, is 5,600 feet. The design is rated pretty high, 4.4. Tee area is pretty high, 4.2. Everything else, well, upkeep and scenery are at 3.9. That's fairly high.
Yeah.
Wayfinding, yeah, is pretty good. Amenities, definitely low.
Yeah, there's not much there.
Hole 4 is a joke, right? Is hole 4 the thumber hole?
I believe so.
Yeah, we were like throwing into a wall and then scrambling up the hill. I enjoy the challenge of that hole, but it's not a great hole.
Yeah.
Granbury, 7,800 feet.
22 hole layout.
Also that.
Yeah.
Also that. Yeah, 22 holes, par 66. The average out there is +9. My average is -2 though, so yeah.
He beat me both times we played there.
It doesn't have any par 4s, which is a joke. There's plenty of holes that score like a par 4.
Hole 8.
Yeah, 500 feet.
Hole 20. Was it
over
hole
500 feet?
10 or hole 12? The 400 foot that definitely. Oh, 15 actually. The 475.
Yeah, 475. So yeah, it's got some almost 500 foot holes. So it definitely has things that are going to score like a par 4 or a par 5. Upkeep 4.8. You do not see that on public courses. The upkeep being the highest rated thing, especially that high.
It really is though. Like, you'd be troubled to go find a patch of grass that isn't mowed out there.
Shot variety and design 4.2, relatively low for how high rated this course is. I could see that it has a lot of hyzer shots, but a lot of them are pinched behind a tree. Like, there's one tree, you're not in the woods, but they'll put the tee pad to where like it makes you bump it a little wider than you want, or go a little inside and flex. Or there's water down a side slope next to the green, so you have to come in at like the right angle so you don't flare skip into the water. So I could see why it's only 4.2 rated on shot variety design, but I like the design of that course.
It makes you really pick on the technical side of your shots, of not just, oh, let me get it down there. It's
if you want to shoot low.
Yeah.
Tee area is 4.5. Yeah. Scenery view is 4.3. It is the prettiest relatively flat piece of land.
Yeah. If you go look at Heritage and then go look here, you'll be like, we're allowed to have this much space.
Yeah, right. Signage as well as amenities are 3.4. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're both just in love with Granbury City Park, and we don't need to keep talking about it.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything like it in the DFW area, really, that like will provide the same experience that Granbury does.
And like I said in the first round, I think this course is slept on, and I was mad that no one else had recommended it to me. The only reason I went there was because it was just like in my ever-growing radius of courses that I hadn't played yet, so I finally tried it. I was like, what the heck? Like, if that course was 20 minutes from me, I would play it all the time. But it's a little further south. It's kind of on the southern end of the radius for the courses that we're talking about in here.
Yeah.
So, Granbury, moving on. Up next, Bill Allen versus Gateway Circle Side. That's the 18 versus the 22. Opening thoughts.
Bill Allen is now my home course that I live in Frisco. I do play there a lot, and I think the course is pretty good. I think it is lacking in some areas. I definitely think it errs on the softer side of a city course for the most part. I think there are some challenging holes. But I think the course softens up really quick again. What I'm thinking of in particular is getting kind of into the back area where that downhill, I think it's this one, that 621 par 4, and then the hole right after that is across a pond, and there's usually a headwind, and that hole is sneakily the hardest hole on the course.
Yeah, because it's 672 to the basket, but it's only, or not 672, it's 372 to the basket, but it's only like 320 to dry, and there's not really anything in the way.
And if you turn something over and go too far right, you're OB, or in the trees dropping in the pond.
Yep.
If you go too stable, you're going to be like 90 to 100 feet away from the basket. Mm-hmm. So I personally think that is a really good hole. Speaking for this course, it is straightforward, but it is very technical if you want to score.
Yeah. The next hole, I love hole 7.
Oh, hole 7.
Downhill, straight mid-range, hopefully with like a baby bit of turn.
I think that's another really good hole in this course that gets a lot of people like averaging par when it really looks like from the tee pad that you're like, this should be a birdie every time.
Yeah. Next hole I don't really like though.
I love hole 8. It's a sky. It's either a really steep forehand hyzer or like a sky Annie backhand or thumbers or hammers. I've seen pretty much anything on that hole, and it can work out if you throw it right. I think it is a hole that challenges people out of their comfort zone though, which...
I mean, I always throw the flippy mid turnover and just like pray. But 258, it plays longer than 258.
Yeah, it's 258 as the bird flies. I bet you that hole's like 330 if you map to the fairway.
So that course, 5,700 feet, 4.4 on design and tee areas, 4.2 on upkeep, signage 4.1, scenery 3.9, amenities 3.4. Parking lot's pretty small. Is there water there?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is, but it's over by the playground by the Macon parking lot, which is smaller. There is a single porta potty by this like back dirt lot if you want to start on like, what is that, hole 10, hole 11?
I thought it was hole 14 for some reason.
No, it is hole 14, 159.
Okay.
And there's more parking back there, but I mean, starting into there isn't a big deal. But the walk from 18 to 1 is a little annoying, in my opinion, playing it that way. That's just me being nitpicky though. Gateway. This is so hard. It's one of my most nostalgic courses because like before, like when I was a kid and playing with Dad all the time, he used to love to come here during the summers because of all the shade and everything. My first few aces are on some of my first few aces are on this course.
Yeah, we both aced hole 3.
Yeah, that was sick. So I definitely, like, this isn't an easy choice for me. I think Gateway is the better disc golf course.
It definitely makes you play. I mean, it's 4.2 versus Bill Allen's 4.3.
Yeah.
But Gateway is 4,600 feet long. Bill Allen's almost 1,000 feet longer, or a little over 1,000 feet longer.
Yeah.
But Gateway has some par fours. There's also 2 courses on the property, and you can combine them into Great Way. Some of the holes on Gateway Circle side, they combined recently to make 2 par 3s into a par 4, and down the finishing stretch, like 15, it's almost too hard for a par 4. It's 341 and it's a par 4, and it scores above that.
Yeah.
Then hole 16 got combined to make a 513 foot par 4, turnover with water on the left. 17, they just lengthened, and then 18's an island, short island, but it's an island usually.
Yeah.
Crazy finishing stretch. A little soft on the ratings though. Designs 4.3, upkeep 4.2. I think both of those could be higher. I mean, the club is always out there doing stuff, working on the courses.
I really think the upkeep is kind of lower than it typically is for that course because of the new additions of like those other hole. Well, that's not even included in this page, is it? Mm-mm. I would say because of redesign, for sure. There was some areas when I like playing it right after it was redesigned.
Oh, because like their attention's divided?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? That makes sense.
I think the upkeep definitely deserves to be higher.
Signage and wayfinding 4.2.
I think that's pretty fair. It's
kind of higher than I would have thought, but it's a very intuitive course.
Yeah.
I guess that goes into design. Tee area is 3.8. Historically, yeah, like since they kind of were forced to do a redesign a long time ago, and then they're redesigning it again now, there were a lot of dirt pads, but they've been pouring concrete in.
Yeah.
And I think that that's been getting a lot better. Amenities 3.0. I guess there's porta potties between the 2 courses in that one parking lot by the ball fields. I don't think there's any water. Scenery and views though, 4.0. Pretty outstanding.
What are you thinking?
Man.
Because I'm a little biased for Bill Allen right now. And that's because it's my home course, so I'd love to hear what you have to think about the comparison of these two.
Bill Allen, I feel like, has more danger of losing a disc, which I find intriguing with the water holes. Gateway, you play next to the Trinity River on a couple of holes, but not a huge danger of losing a disc there. The rough is really rough. They've got those privet bushes. Current hole 7, old hole 8 is one of my favorite holes in the entire Metroplex because it's like a straight, little bit of a late flip and a stable up on a driver. And it's a par 3, but it's like the most gratifying 2 ever. Like it's a birdie that feels like an eagle.
Yeah. There was I remember there's one time, so on this hole there is that little like light turnover to stable up gap that he's talking about, and then there is this archway of bushes that is like naturally formed that you can see the basket through.
It's so pretty.
And it's like the hero gap. You're looking at it and you're like, yeah, I can throw something through there. But it's like this 6-foot pinhole at like a little over 300 feet you have to make it through. And we were there one time, and he and I obviously are really competitive, and he just laces it first up his box right through that little pinhole, scoots up to like I think you're like a 20-footer.
Something like that.
Yeah. And I think that was one of the times like watching disc golf that I'm just like, wow, like that's really cool to see. What are you leaning towards?
I'm super torn. Let's look at the pars. Has Gateway has the 2 par 4s. Bill Allen,
I believe it just has the 3. The 621. Yeah.
3 par 4s. Because some of the holes that I let Bill Allen into this round were over Fritz, were like, because of the variety there, it has forehand holes, it has your backhand holes, it has your open holes, it has your tunnel holes, it has a little bit of elevation. Gateway has no elevation.
I agree. I think Bill Allen, though, scores easy. Like 17, I don't think should be a par 4. Because it's wide open to a layup in a field that just has a low ceiling upshot, really. It's not even that low of a ceiling if you lay up in the right spot. You can get a 3 very easily on 17 if you break it down. I think the same thing on hole 15, honestly. I think that's a pretty easy birdie. I think Bill Allen is probably one of the best courses for beginners to go play. It gives you a good look of like, oh, maybe I should be throwing a bit further. But at the same point, it's like, it's not completely necessary to score.
I'll give it to Bill Allen. You mentioned beginners, and one thing I don't like about Gateway, which the experienced players, I don't see this being an issue, but with beginners, I like keep waiting to hear stories. The mountain biking course. There's multiple fairways that the mountain biking course intersects and crosses the disc golf fairways. And there's been multiple times where I've been on the tee, like getting ready to like line up my shot, and I see them coming, and like they're very polite and everything. No knock on the mountain bikers being there. They have every right to be there as much as the disc golfers do. But for a beginner course, I just keep waiting to hear about like a horror story of a biker getting drilled and then like things dissolving into chaos from there. I haven't heard any of those stories, thank goodness, but the potential for that is really high. I don't like that design choice of Gateway. Their hands are tied. The other course is not that way. Briar Run, but Circle Side does have that, so I will let that be the tiebreaker and let Bill Allen move on.
That's funny. I was gonna vie for Gateway, I think. I will say, even though like Bill Allen is moving on, I think Gateway is probably one of the courses that I'm the most willing to drive to, because like, you know, obviously my brother being lucky and living 5 minutes from Vets, like that's very nice. It's a very good course, which we'll get into Vets more in just a minute. But that course is, I think it's a very good and fun disc golf course.
Yeah, and like I said, I mentioned the other property or the other course on the property, and that you can combine them into like a massive 36-hole layout. One of my favorite properties in the Metroplex.
My shoulder is sore thinking about it.
So yeah, Bill Allen moves on into the Sweet 16. Up next, Trophy Club versus Vets. Trophy Club 4.4 rated to Vets 4.5. The length, granted Trophy Club has multiple things going on. Is it in the long layout right now? You were there last weekend, you said?
Yeah, it was in the longs when I played it last weekend.
So 6,500 feet. Vets, just from the concrete pads, 6,000 feet. If you back it up to the longs, it's coming in at 7,600 feet. Vets is also in a relatively short layout right now. One is...
Wasn't everything in the shorts when we were looking at it?
Almost everything is in the short right now. So
yeah.
Vets is at its shortest right now at 6,000 feet. No par fours. Technically, hole 1 could be a par 4. Hole 12 could be a par 4.
Yeah.
Hole 17, no. That'd be a soft par 4.
Yeah, it's downhill mostly.
Veterans
it doesn't really play.
Could be par 56. Trophy Club, hole 1, par 4. Hole 2, par 4. Hole 9, 10. 12 is par 5.
Yep.
That hole eats me alive every time because I want to score.
I took a 9.
What did I take in the snow?
More than that.
Yeah.
I was playing with some of my buddies, and I don't need to get into that. But that hole 12, 706 foot par 5. You look at the tee box and you see this dirt kind of path that just kind of weaves down the fairway and it disappears off to the left, and it's like 100 feet past where it disappears.
Yeah.
And
thick woods on the left, thick woods on the right. When the woods on the right finally ease up, there's a property line there with like game cameras and no trespassing signs. It's brutal.
Yeah.
That's a brutal hole.
And it immediately goes into one of the most lipping, salivating ace runs you've ever seen in your life that I've never seen anyone get.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone get it. And I bet my score average on that hole is like 2.8.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So Trophy Club, you do have to pay $5 to get into, so it's the only pay-to-play course on the public side of the bracket because it is in a city park, which is like weird for Texas. I know up north that's like the norm. You pay money to get into the park, and you have access to everything in the park. We'll get into the ratings. Shot variety, design, and tee areas, 4.5. Signage and wayfinding, 4.3.
Yeah.
It's a DD branded course. I don't know if they did the original design, but they've got the veterans baskets with the arrows and good T signs. Upkeep and scenery are at 4.2.
It was freshly mowed when I went out there on Sunday, which was really, really nice.
Amenities 3.5.
Which, that makes sense. They have 2 porta potties in the parking lot at the course. There's no running water out there. I will say this is kind of on amenities. It's almost an amenity for another activity that brings us down. There is a dirt bike track, like a lot of the course less than like 100 yards away. Some of it is like right next to, and if there's people on dirt bikes out there kind of ripping, it is very distracting. And it's no knock on them. Like, obviously they have every right to be there, like we're saying, like mountain bikers. Mm-hmm. It's designed for them. It's designed to be used. Use it. But as a disc golfer, while that is going on, it is a little distracting and can kind of knock you out of the, like, I'm here with my buddies just hanging out, tossing frisbees.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. No dogs allowed. I didn't realize that. That makes sense with the dirt bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no water. Not really stroller friendly. Lots of roots and stuff on the paths that can get really, really muddy. It is cart friendly though. Yeah. And we just passed the 10-year anniversary of that course being in. That's exciting. And vets, we'll get down to the ratings. 4.6 on the design. This course has been in since 79, I think. 89.
89.
It did go through a redesign. Like that pond hole that you sometimes see for the VPO. That used to be one of the actual holes, but went through a big redesign quite a ways back. Upkeep, tee areas, and scenery are all at 4.4. Yeah, the club is always doing stuff out there. They're always keeping the little dangler branches and stuff pruned, taking care of baskets. They just had to re-pour a couple of new sleeves out there, just due to the age of the equipment, because this course has been around forever. So they're always taking care of it. Signage and wayfinding 3.6.
I really think that's too low.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think it's high. I used to get lost at Veterans all the time when I was new.
I guess, yeah, there's no thing that's like, oh yeah, take this path for 100.
Next tee, this way.
Yeah.
Oh, there is actually like a couple of them, but for the most part.
I think they are newer. Mm-hmm. I think it has gotten a lot better. I think it used to be very, like, there's 7 paths leading off this green. Which one do I go to the next hole? I feel like it's a lot more clear-cut now.
Some of those it's hard to discern between like a game path, a foot path, a hiking path, or like the disc golf walk-off.
Or paths that are disc golfers that it's where they commonly go and shit, and you're like, now I'm just standing in the middle of a group of trees, where am I supposed to go?
Yeah. Amenities 3.4, that might almost be a little high. There are bathrooms up top for hole 1. When it's rented out for events, they unlock those bathrooms, the city does. Otherwise, the bathrooms are by hole 15, which you could easily walk to from hole 11. And there's no water over there either. You got to wait till you get to hole 11. I mean, I love Trophy Club. I love going up there because I like playing different courses, and I'm super duper Vets homer, so I feel guilty saying that I think it's Vets, but I'm gonna go with Vets.
I personally think Vets is, this is hard, because I think they provide different challenges. Trophy Club really forces you, I feel like if you're a new player, Trophy Club's nothing crazy. Mm-hmm. But if you can throw 400 feet and put hole 1's drive over the OB and have it stable back in bounds towards the basket, that is one of my favorite gratifying drives of disc golf in DFW. But I do have to agree with you, it is Vets.
I think it's Vets.
This is no
Trophy.
Knock on Trophy Club.
Yeah, no knock on it. But like Vets doesn't have Mandos to make it a better course. That has shorts, which so does Trophy Club.
I think some
of the shorts actually have pads though, like turf pads at Vets, which I like, and then it has the option to back it way up into the gold.
I think some of the Mandos at Trophy Club though are for
for safety, not just
like hole 1, the left Mando to keep the discs away from hole 2's tee pad.
Yeah.
But
Vets just doesn't need that.
Yeah.
Which It's not a knock on Trophy Club or courses like that do that, because sometimes the design just necessitates a Mando with the space that you're given from the city.
Yeah. I will say Trophy Club does make it so after your front 9, you're literally spat back out of the parking lot.
Yes.
That is so nice.
I love it. Love it. Okay. So Vets is moving on. Sorry, Trophy Club. Definitely spelled veterans wrong there on this sheet, but that's okay. So that is round 2 of the other side of the bracket. So round 2B, if you will. Next is going to be the Sweet 16, introducing the pay-to-play or private courses in with these public courses.
I know it's not DFW, but Flying Armadillo got to play it for the first time like 2 weeks ago.
Flying Armadillo is sweet. Even the big course. I mean, the putt course is fun, but the big course is sweet. Did you get any chunks taken out of your discs?
I'll have to show you my M4.
Oh, no. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Peace out.